Hi, I am José Manuel Guerrero, and I am here to talk to you about online class and students' motivation for learning in the COVID era. Well, that was my main topic, and the subtopics were the change in the motivation before and after the COVID, the effect that stress has over the motivation of students, and ways to upgrade or to maintain the motivation between students during these difficult times. Well, let's continue with my research. Okay, so my research question was the following. Can the motivation students between 16 and 21 years old studying high school or higher be maintained through these stress relieving strategies? Or is the motivation being lost due to a direct influence from the environment the COVID era has created to these students? The objective was to solve the question throughout a qualitative research in Google Forms. Okay, so the hypothesis was the following. Therefore, if a survey is presented to individuals, the influence that the COVID quarantine is having over the lack of motivation in students between 16 and 21 years old studying high school or higher will be an indirect influence, since the environment will become more stressful, slowly generating leakage of motivation to continue studying, so that it is easier to motivate students again in the same rate in which motivation before and after the pandemic changed on individuals. The experiment started with the creation of the questions, which was related to the topic selected. Afterwards, a qualitative research was made with the computer and web tools like Google Forms and an email database. There was a questionnaire of 5 questions made where anybody with the link was able to answer it. There were in a majority open-ended questions with just one multiple choice question. After the questionnaire was made, it was sent to different classmates using the institutional email accounts. There was only 2-day gap in which 6 responses were registered. After the data was stored in the same web page the questionnaire was made, a data analysis was generated where the responses from students between 16 and 21 years old were evaluated. Well, the results were the following. Based on the surveys made, the desire for good grades has been the most present motivation before the pandemic, right after socializing with friends and or other people. Further on, after the pandemic, 50% of the responses changed, making all of the motivations of the individuals be achieving academic results like good grades or entering the university. The stress levels increased only in 2 individuals, which have the casualty to have changed their goals before and after COVID. Finally, it was cleared out that all of the individuals were under the age range, and all of them belong to high school. We can see the results before this is the survey made. So here we can see that these are before COVID. These are the results after COVID. This is the control group. This is also for the control group to assure that the age ranges were okay. These are all of the results of the study made. Well, as a conclusion, although this study had several limitations, starting with the reach of the study and that the only people reached were 6 within a small range, and that the fact that the questions had the same exact approach in different types of people, the research question was not able to be answered in the expected way. The hypothesis was proven wrong because the outcome of the research is that there is a direct relation between the environment of the COVID era and the students' motivation, but it does not lower them, which is a partial answer. They are just centered into academic objectives rather than in any other areas of interest. For a further research, there would be better if the limitations of the quantity of the people and the tools used to interview people were eliminated, so that there could be more accurate results.